From the studio of WTAP Plus, you're watching Women of the MOV with host Phyllis Smith.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me for Women of the MOV. So today I have a special guest. I luckily did not have to go very far to find her. She sits right next to me. So I'm very happy that Logan Riggenbaugh is with me. She is the WTAP weekend anchor, and she reports during the week. And thank you so much for joining me, Logan.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
At what time is it? 7:30 on a Friday?
Yeah.
So, Logan, I would like to know a little bit more about your background, and I'm sure the Mid-Ohio Valley is also interested too. So, you're a West Virginia girl.
I am.
Love to see it.
Yeah.
So, you are from Wheeling, and can you tell us a little bit more about growing up in Wheeling and how you made your way to Parkersburg?
Yeah, so obviously Wheeling is pretty different from Parkersburg. There's I don't want to say there's more there, but it's growing up there, like Pittsburgh and Columbus were much more like easily accessible, especially Pittsburgh, because it's right next to I-70. So growing up, my family and I were lucky enough to be able to go and do a lot of different activities outside of the Ohio Valley. Like we'd go to Washington, PA, and do stuff up there. For a while, my uncle and my aunt lived up there, so we'd be able to go and see them every now and again. But yeah, Wheeling, it's very interesting. It's kind of different because I'm trying to think of different how it differs from Parkersburg, because it has its own brand of culture and history compared to Parkersburg, because I noticed Parkersburg has a lot of historical aspects to it versus Wheeling, which I know Wheeling does have its own brand of history, but
And that's right up in the northern panhandle?
yeah, it's smack in the middle in Ohio County. Wheeling, I have a special place in my heart for Wheeling. After living in Parkersburg, I don't know if I would move back, but Wheeling, I'm trying to think of different.
It's really not too far, an hour and a half.
Yeah, it's about it's like a 2-hour drive from here.
Not bad, yeah. And you went to, is it Wheeling?
It's John Marshall High School.
For high school.
Yeah,
and then college?
College I went to West Liberty University.
West Liberty, I always get West Liberty and Wheeling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, West Lib, is that in Wheeling? No.
No, technically it's 20 minutes outside of Wheeling. It's in its own town called West Liberty. Very, very small. Mm-hmm. It's almost like I'd say it's like smaller than Elizabeth.
Oh, tiny.
Yeah, very, very tiny. There's like there's one itty bitty locally owned grocery store up there, and it's tied to a restaurant there. And ironically, there is like a city building right beside there. Yeah, ironically. And then we have like a single Family Dollar.
Oh, hey.
And just in case you didn't want to like leave West Liberty and drive 20 minutes to the nearest town.
So what did you study at West Lib?
So I actually changed my major halfway through. Probably wasn't the smartest thing to do, but I'm glad I did it.
Well, look at where you're still here.
Yeah. I started out in broadcasting because don't know if you know this, but when I went to John Marshall, I took broadcasting classes. That's how I got into broadcasting. But yeah, when I first started at West Liberty, I started out as a broadcasting major, and then halfway through my time there, I was getting ready to go into my junior year, and I decided, you know what, there's this new major that was just created by one of my professors. It was media communications. And granted, I probably should have gone to my advisor to change my major, but I didn't. I just changed it from my house, and And it was very similar to broadcasting because we did a lot of stuff with news, but a lot of it was also like graphic design, video editing, and stuff like that. Like more like stuff that was geared more towards like freelance media majors rather than like journalists. But I'm glad that I changed my major in the long run. It was a lot. All my classes were a lot of fun.
Yes. And so how did you get the job opportunity with WTAP?
So in one of my classes within my major, I met my good friend, Maddie, and she, was born and raised in St. Mary's, so she was pretty familiar with this area. When I was getting ready to graduate, it was, I think, the last week that I was at West Liberty. I was talking to her because we had some time left at the end of class, and she mentioned that she had gotten an internship opportunity here at WTAP, and this was back in the summer of 2024. And I kept it in the back of my mind for a while, and when during that last semester, I was interning at WTRF in Wheeling. I tried to get a job there, but they weren't hiring, unfortunately. But I decided to look around to other stations that might have been hiring. I looked at WTOV in Steubenville. I looked at some other places. But then I remembered, Maddie, getting an internship down here. And so I thought, you know what, I'll just try it. I'll submit my resume. I'll see where that goes. Well, then, not long after. Yep.
And we love Maddie. She's fun. We were talking. We got to have her on the podcast as well. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
A trio.
Yeah, definitely.
That would be fun.
It would be really fun. And yeah, I submitted my resume here after she told me she was getting an internship here. Because I figured, you know what, if I'm going to start out somewhere completely brand new, I don't know somebody.
Yeah.
And so I submitted my resume. I heard from our news director, and we went through the interview process, and eventually he offered me a job as a multimedia journalist, and I accepted it.
Yeah,
and here we are.
You got to work. You got to work with Maddie for a couple months before her internship ended.
Yeah, she was she was here 3 days a week, part-time, and she was interning as a producer. So she would the days that she was here, she would produce the 5 o'clock newscast for Andrew.
Yeah, and now Logan is our weekend anchor, and you took that over in, you were saying June
and July. June and July.
And what was that like?
It was very nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
Because at the time when I was asked, I didn't realize that Haley was leaving, because I believe she was going to be the weekend anchor before she was offered a job in Mississippi. And it kind of took me off guard, because I went into Philip's office, and I was asking him a question about one of my stories, and, he gave me an answer. I was like, okay, that's, done and done. Went to go walk back into the newsroom, and he said, wait, before you leave, I have a question to ask you.
Hold up.
Yeah.
Hold that thought.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, what's going on? And he said, well, Haley's leaving, and she's going to Mississippi. And I was thinking, would you want to be the weekend anchor? And in my mind, I was like, oh, no. Because at the time, I was very content with being like just a reporter. And, I was very secure in my role. So I was like, you know what? I don't need to change.
Were you about a year in? How long have you been?
I was a little over a year in.
Mm-hmm.
And, he asked me, and I was like, I did not expect that. I did not expect to be offered a role like that this soon in my career here. And so I was like, I got to talk about it with my mom.
Yes. You got to ask Mom.
Yeah.
What do you think, Mom?
Yeah, literally, I talked to her about it, and she was like, well, what do you think? I was like, I don't know what I think.
That's why I asked you, Mom.
It's like, why? That's why I asked you. And yeah, so we talked about it that night, and she was like, honestly, it's a good opportunity. It's a good way to get your experience in before you move on somewhere. And it's just more stuff that you can put on your resume. And I was like, all right. So then I think a few a few days later, I went back to Philip and I said, all right, I'll accept. I'll be the weekend anchor. And he goes, okay, perfect. We'll get you trained. I'm like, all right. So I do a little bit of training. We do like a practice run through with the 5 o'clock, and he, recorded it. He went over it, and he's like, you know what, you're doing good. This is what you can work on for when you actually start. I was like, okay. So we did some practices, and then I went on vacation in August, and the moment I got back, Andrew was out for a week.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, poor guy. He was really, really sick. So the day I got back, Philip told me, like, hey, I need you to anchor today. I was like, okay.
And that was weekday.
Yeah, it was
anchoring.
Like weekday anchoring. And like, in case you guys didn't know this, but the weekend is much more relaxed than it is throughout the week. So that's what I was preparing for. I was preparing to, come back, report, get back into the swing of things, and then ease myself into my role as an anchor.
Yeah, we're going to turn up the pressure and
no, literally.
Do weekday anchoring.
Yeah, like literally he I feel like it was like he asked me, like, hey, do you know how to swim? Sure, I do. Okay. And then threw me out into the water and, like, let me swim.
Yeah.
So that's how it's kind of how it felt when I was first anchoring.
That's a great way to learn, though.
Yeah, it is definitely a great way to learn.
Yeah.
No better education than actually doing, I guess.
Right. Yeah, I was talking to Allison, and we were kind of just being like, sometimes you just have to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then, you kind of learn, and sometimes you fail a little bit, and then you just keep going. But so what do you like about anchoring and reporting?
I think my likes with each role are pretty different. I do like reporting because it gets me out into the community. I get to meet people, and I get to learn more about my surroundings and the place that I now call home. And I think it was a blessing when I first got here because I was not familiar with Parkersburg at all. I hardly ever thought about it when I was growing up because we never came down here. And it was like getting to meet people, getting to know my surroundings, and having to go and drive places. It helped me get really familiar really, really quickly. So that's one thing I really love about reporting. And then with anchoring, it was very much, it's that structure that I really like. I like having structure and knowing what to expect. And, when you walk in reporting, you kind of look at, our storyboard, figure out which reporters are doing what. And they might tell you, like, oh, this might not get in for the 5, or this might not get in for the 6, and it'll be for later. And you're kind of like, okay. So then you go in, look through all the national stuff, and figure out what you want to do, and put it in. It's very structured, and that's one thing that I really like about it. It kind of gives me a break from all the chaos that comes with reporting and figuring out what you're going to do. So that's one thing I really like about anchoring.
Yes, reporting, it's, you're doing one thing one day and then something different the next day, and then somebody cancels their interview on you. And
oh my gosh.
It's a lot of figuring out on the fly.
Yeah, definitely. And that's another thing that I actually do like about reporting is it's something different every day. It was enough to kind of keep me on my toes and keep me interested in the job, which I don't think I could get disinterested because it's just, it's so interesting. It's always something different every day. And that's one thing that I really liked about reporting, and another thing at least, was just, something different. But that's just.
Yeah, it definitely keeps your mind sharp.
Yeah,
I'd
100%.
say. Yes. Well, we have to go to a quick commercial break, but we'll be right back with Logan Regenbaugh. Okay, we are back now with Logan Regenboss. So, Logan, I know we were talking about reporting and anchoring. Are there any stories that have stuck out to you in your time at WTAP that you really enjoyed covering?
Yeah, so I think one that stuck out to me the most is a feature that I did back in 2024, I think. 2024 or early 2025, about the late Bob Pioli, who is a World War II veteran that was a POW for about a year. He lived in Marietta, and I got to talk to his grandson, Matt, about his life, and we got to talk a little bit about his memoir that he wrote, and I guess he tried to get published at one point. And like, speaking of which, I did interview him recently again for a story that'll come up. And yeah, I don't know. I just like learning about Mr. Pioli. He had a very interesting life, and all the stuff that he did that was like, it's kind of crazy to think about, somebody going through all that. And I think another story that really sticks out to me was covering the Parkersburg, the PHS in the South crosstown showdown football game back in 2024.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, I got to interview both principals, some students from each school, ask them questions, and I had a lot of fun putting it together. Because,
was that about the rivalry between the two?
Yeah, the rivalry.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a lot of fun putting that story together, because it was just one of those stories where you could just have fun with it and put it together, and it was just something that you didn't think have to take. Oh my gosh, you didn't have to think too hard about when it came to wording, technical things like you have to do when you cover city council meetings,
right?
Or
it's just something kind of fun.
Yeah, it was just something kind of fun, and it was a break from the mental strain from covering all the serious stuff. It was like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, that rivalry is pretty intense.
Yeah, because it's not even just with football. It's like with all of the other sports too, and it's like a week. Yeah, across the board rivalry. And
thumb wrestling, anything you could think of, South and PHS would.
Yeah, definitely. And they also had like a week full of activities leading up to it, and it was just it just sounds like they have a whole lot of fun with it, despite it being a big rivalry.
Yes, true. Well, Logan, is there anything else you'd like the Mid-Ohio Valley to kind of know about you? I know sometimes when we're on the air, we don't get to maybe kind of show some sides of ourselves. We have to be kind of, really serious. So
I know. And
but Logan and I laugh and joke like constantly.
Yeah, and I think you and Jason and Thomas, I think the three of you are I think you guys know the most out of anybody that I am not a very serious person. I like to joke, and I like to poke fun at stuff sometimes.
Talk about memes a lot.
Yeah, literally. And just talk about, different things and just kind of joke with each other and just have a good time while we're here.
Yes. And I was going to ask you too, for a young woman kind of starting out in her career, what advice would you give to her?
Yeah, so the biggest thing that I would say is keep an open mind when you are first starting out in your career, because you never know what you're going to expect. When I first started here, I thought, you know what, I'm perfectly content with being a reporter. I don't want that to change. But then, life kind of throws a curveball at you, and you kind of have to make, I guess a life-altering decision or something that could like drastically change the trajectory of your career. And and it's just something that you always have to think about. And if an opportunity comes at you where you can like advance yourself, or it seems like it's going to be a challenge that could overall help you get better at what you do, or like help get your feet wet just a little bit more in your career field, please follow this advice. Take that opportunity, because if I didn't take the opportunity to be the weekend anchor here after LV left, I would still just be a reporter, and I wouldn't have learned anything new really, when it came to, being a journalist. So take any opportunity that comes your way to, move up in your career, just take that opportunity and learn from people who have been around,
Like you were kind of saying, it's funny. I think sometimes when you become an anchor, that makes you a better reporter.
Yeah, because you kind of know what, because I know whenever I, do reporting now that I'm, I don't know if I would say a seasoned anchor because I don't think that would be quite accurate.
So you've been doing it. How long have you been doing weekend anchoring now? About 6 months?
Oh my God. I think it was about 5 or 6 months now. So I don't know if I'm seasoned, but
And then we were talking about how you had to jump in when Andrew got sick.
Yeah, back in August,
Yeah.
he got really, really sick, and he was out for an entire week. And the moment I got back from vacation, literally the moment I got back from vacation was when I started my new schedule for the weekend. And Philip came up to me and said, "Hey, by the way, I know you got in at 9:30. I need you to do the 5 o'clock, like the 5 and 6 o'clock." And
weekday anchoring is, weekend anchoring is stressful, but like weekday, that's just like cranking it up another notch.
Like you have so many local stories compared to the weekend. Like the weekend, you'll get maybe 3 or 4 because you don't have as many reporters on the weekend,
right.
And there's not as much happening because offices are closed and you can only report so much on the weekend. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like throughout the week, there's a lot. There's a lot of local stories you have to look through, and you always have to go to the reporters to clarify. And it just seems like it's a big rush, especially when you're doing the 5 and 6 and trying to get that prepared.
That's a good way to put it. A big rush. The first time I ever anchored, my heart was beating so fast. I thought the Mid-Ohio Valley would hear it.
Yeah, like that's how it was for me. Like my heart pounded, and I was so anxious because I was like, "Oh my gosh, what if I mess up?"
Yeah.
And another thing that people don't really warn you about, and I don't know if this is like a me thing or if it also happens to other people, but I was always so anxious that if I were to mess up, people would like notice and they would nitpick.
Oh, they'd email instantly.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we get like an email of saying like, "Oh gosh, why would you pick her to be an anchor?" And I was so worried about that happening, but it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, I think sometimes people forget maybe like just how nervous we are when we go out there. And that, if we do mess up, that, we're aware.
Yeah, we are very aware. Don't worry.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I'm all about constructive feedback, but, sometimes I think maybe people maybe take it for granted that, it's scary.
I know. And yeah, it's like, and it's also a little intimidating.
For sure.
Whenever you mess up and you're like thinking it over in your head and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I messed that up. I need to work on that and make sure I don't do it again for the next newscast." Or if it was like a technical error, or if there was just something like a little hiccup or something, you go in and you go in and like try to fix it, and you're like, "Okay, let's just reset, get ready for the next newscast." That happened. We learn from it. We move on, and then. You get like an email of like, hey, this happened. Stop doing that. It's like, okay.
Yeah, sometimes it's kind of out of our control.
Yeah, like today.
Today was a barrel of laughs. Yeah.
Yeah, today our server had a meltdown, and it was a struggle and a half trying to get anything done. I know. Today I interviewed 2 high school students from Parkersburg Catholic, because they were talking about a blood drive that they're holding on February 12th. And I was prepared. I was like, you know what? Today is just, it's going to be what it's going to be. I'll interview them. We're going to go into the studio. We're going to get that done, recorded. It's going to be great. Well, they come in. I'm a little I'm a little nervous because I'm not used to doing live interviews a whole lot. And, I get them in, I get, their names down and like their title. That way I can introduce them. And I get them into the studio and I get my mic on, my IFB so I can hear our director. And I'm like, oh, hey, Matt, you ready? I didn't hear anything.
Crickets.
I know, it was crickets. And I was like, does he not have his headset on? Like, what's going on? Because I called the back, and our morning director was there at the time because our evening director hadn't gone in yet. And I was like, did he not, like, pass along the message? Did he forget? Well, I went back to my desk, and those poor kids. I was like, hey, just hold on, hang right here, hang tight. I'll be back in a minute. So I go to my desk and I call him and he goes, yeah, we are not able to record. Infinity is not working. I'm on the phone with Austin, our morning director, trying to fix it. And I was like, okay, cool. So then I talked to Philip and he said, just take him into the podcasting room, which
where we are.
Yeah, where we are right now.
Currently.
So then, I had to go back into the studio and go, okay, give me your mics. We can't record in here. Let's go into the podcasting room.
We're going to pivot.
Yeah, we're going to pivot. And I didn't have a copy of the questions, which that made me even more nervous. And it was my first time, working the setup in here, getting all that taken care of. And yeah, I was even like when we were recording the 5, because, our server was not working properly and we just wanted to take that precaution.
Yes.
While that interview was playing, I just had to take my IFB out and just not listen to it because I was like, I already know it's bad. I already know it's bad. And it was pretty rough. But, I have to give credit where credit is due. Those 2 kids, Grant and Chloe, they did amazing despite me not having it together, really. They did so good. And they gave, great answers. So that definitely helped me out a lot.
Shout out Chloe and Grant.
Yeah, shout out Chloe and Grant. Yeah, they did very well. And I had them in here and we were doing the interview. And I was trying to think of what questions I had. And you could definitely tell that that today was not going great. So,
I feel like days like today help build like perseverance.
Yeah, and it definitely shows you like definitely tells you like what you need to do to like you have to think on your feet and like it shows you like the different solutions that are available, like the different options, like say we can't record in the studio.
Yeah,
you have this nice
let's go to the podcast room. Yeah.
We have the nice little podcast room.
Yes.
And I feel like today days like today are definitely kind of, I guess, like build like
character building.
It's it has a build character, like it builds your like journalist character.
Yes, I mean you do have to get creative with solutions sometimes.
Yeah. And we did learn that in college because our equipment was really old, and we'd have to like come up with other solutions. But nothing teaches you, perseverance and finding another way, like, actually being out in the field.
Yeah, I was talking to Allison a little bit. I was like, sometimes you learn more when things are going haywire as opposed to smoothly.
I feel like you really only learn how to properly do something if it goes wrong, if that makes sense. Like, when I was first starting out as anchor, there were a lot of things that went wrong when I was first starting out. Like I know on the weekend, especially when sports started up with like football, there were some, newscasts where we get pushed back and with the 6 o'clock, if you get pushed back to like a certain point, you'd have to start cutting things. You'd have to condense because we had to be out by 6:30. And if it went back far enough, you would have a full 30 minutes. You just go in late. Or sometimes you just wouldn't have a newscast at all. So there was one day, and I cannot remember exactly what program was on right before the 6 o'clock, but I was talking to Matt, who is our director, over the weekend. He was talking into my earpiece, and he said, "Yeah, if it goes past 6:05 or 6:06, can't remember, we'll just have like a full 30-minute newscast. We'll be fine. You don't need to worry about condensing." and I kid you not, it threw to us 15 seconds before the cutoff, so I had to cut like 5 minutes worth of content, and I had to do it in like a minute and a half period, and I was like stressing out because I was like, oh my god, what do I need to cut? And there was also, I think, you know, at the beginning of the show with like the tease, like, oh hey, this is what we have. I had to cut that story because it was longer, and I was like, what
do I tease now?
Yeah, I was like, what do I tease now? And I didn't have time to change it, unfortunately. But yeah,
it happens, and you keep going.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things where it's like, oh, that's very unfortunate, but yeah, you do have to keep going and just kind of roll with it.
So, Logan, before I let you go, I just want to ask you one more question. What are maybe like, do you have any long-term goals? Do you have like a 5-year plan? Is there something you're aiming for in the future that you want to achieve?
Yeah, I don't know about my 5-year goal, because I don't know what I'm going to be doing in 5 years, but I do know that I do plan on staying around for a little while longer, because you know, we are here, because you know, everybody who works here has to work under contract, you know, and for 2 years. But I do plan on re-signing my contract when it comes up, because you know, I don't know, Parkersburg kind of grew on me.
Aww.
WTAP and Parkersburg kind of grew on me. I think I'm going to stick around for a little while longer.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what I'm going to do right after I decide to leave here. I don't know if I'm going to, you know, move far away, or if I'm just going to move like a little bit farther away from home, you know. But in terms of long-term goals, I would like to move to Massachusetts and like live near Boston.
Oh yeah, be a New England girl.
Yeah, like so Boston has like a special place in my heart, and same with my mom and dad. They both, and my sister, the 4 of us, we really love Boston. It's like it's a city, but at the same time, it's not hectic.
Yeah, I feel like it's like a baby New York kind of. Yeah, maybe that's more manageable New York.
Yeah, exactly, and it's very, you know, walkable. You don't have to take like an Uber to go someplace like we did in New York.
You gonna take the whole squad up there with you?
I don't know.
Mom, dad, sister.
Knowing my parents, they'd probably move with me, but
follow you.
Yeah, while my sister's still in college, they would probably stick around. But depending on where my sister ends up, they might move. Like, you know, they're gonna try to stay like more like central, like be like the halfway point between me and my sister. Because while I want to move north, my sister expressed that she wanted to move south, like Atlanta.
Maybe you guys could split one parent each, maybe.
Yeah, literally.
Swap.
Like one parent lives with one kid, and they just swap. Like every like 2 months, I guess.
Yeah, when the New England winter gets to be too tough.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like snowbirds. You go down to Atlanta.
Right.
And then when the Georgia summer gets too brutal, we move to Massachusetts.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just wherever my sister ends up or wherever I end up. I know my parents are going to try to be more central, so they're not too far away from the other. But yeah, I'm going to try to go to either like Boston or maybe even like Tennessee or like the like around like that place. Maybe even like Western North Carolina. Who knows?
Cool. Well, Logan, I think anything you put your mind to, I think you'll be able to achieve it, and hopefully I can come visit you in one of those cool places.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so thank you for coming on the podcast today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, and we're going to go back to our seats.
Yeah,
right
just
next
down the
to
hall.
each other. Yeah. And you'll start working on the 10, and I'll start working on the 11.
Yeah.
Yep, and we'll see you guys then. So thanks for joining us. Ta-ta.